that grant. Not just Allen Street Pump Station. There are force mains and gravity sewers and other things involved in that. Air relief valves and other things.
And
Not
so you're
just that
saying the
pump station.
project has already started, that's what you're saying?
No, I said it's in design. We'll have to finish design work. Then we'll have to go to solicitation for bids. Then we'll have to award bids before construction can begin.
So let's get back to mine.
Okay.
Because we were in the bid stage, so work can be done. And this has been brought to my attention by one of the board members.
Mine too, recently.
Okay.
Probably some guy.
So that's why, where can we get, so we can get back to getting that fixed? I mean, what do we need to do?
I guess to add on to that.
I can do it again. I can put it together again. We'll see what kind of bids we got and how much the price has increased since Christmas. I think that I'll dust off the one that I had. We'll use that as a specification and we'll put it back out there again.
But to be clear, you're saying that the previous bids are null and void?
Oh yeah, they were only good for about 15, 20. And on those bids, they said there was an increase in price. We'd get that too. And they're probably going to do that. I'll be willing to bet that this bid here tells us that if there's substantial price increases, they're going to have to go up on those components. Because nowadays, I bought something at Lowe's and it changed price from the time I picked it up and put it in the cart and got to the front the other day. So, yeah. So.
Anyway, that, it seems to be, you know, it was critical then, so I know it's in the book yet. So I'd like for us to do whatever we need to do to get that done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And if you'd like me to, I'll dust off that.
Yes.
Those specs that I put together back before Christmas, and we'll put it on ski boat June, July meeting, okay? So the 30-day thing. These are the specifications, by the way, on that North American project here. These are what we put together and put out there.
If you'll take a look at that, don't forget
Sure.
paragraph and just, I don't know whether you've been able to utilize that source or not. It's just something that came out from the municipal association to tonight. Since it's in infrastructure.
I get these. This is from the Dome to Home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
You just mentioned the,
Yeah.
the federal infrastructure program and a web page that we could go to and get some assistance in applying for those grants. I just wanted to be sure that we were in fact taking advantage of those opportunities to get some of those grants as well.
Yes, sir.
So who's doing the design on this?
Design on what?
Allen Street Station.
You all approved Davidson Brown to do that design prior to my arrival.
I'm just asking who's
Yeah.
doing it.
Mr. Sugar, while you're here and while council's assembled, would you update or give them some information on what's going on at Tallulah and West Hall?
Oh, this is it?
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
We've got a situation.
I didn't know whether we were going to do an executive session or whether you were going to call me back up later or not. But we've got an emergency situation at Tallulah and Brooklyn. About a month ago, it was right after the last council. Right after the last council meeting, we had a failure of sewer line over on, I think, did somebody already get it? Y'all got it? You got it? Right after the last council meeting, we had a failure of sewer line over at Tallulah Street. It's actually down on Syracuse is where we noticed it. There's what's known as a drop manhole. That's the first manhole after a lift station that the force main drops into.
Yeah.
Okay. We assembled some materials and we engaged a contractor and went over there and fixed one service and got it repaired. Thought we were done. A few days later, the next service fails. So we camera the lines again and repair it. We did this twice. And Since then, we've had failure down the street. We still get sewer through this line, it's just a trickle through, it's not flowing the way it should. And it's filling up the manholes and going down, it's called supercharging the lines, that's the
Yeah.
terminology for that. So far to date, we've spent a little more than $25,000 over there. And just to give you, for instance, that's anything from a $33 driveway marker, $50 a day fuel in the pump, all the way up to $4,000 in parts from Core Main, one of our suppliers. So at this point, we've got to repair these lines. We repaired and put in about 40 to 60 feet of 6-inch sewer line in Tallulah. We rebuilt 3 services. Looks like we're going to have to rebuild about 5 to 7 more. I hope only 5. Looks like we're going to have to replace 180 feet of 8-inch line, 120 feet of 6-inch line. I hope that all those numbers are less than that. But all I've gotten together in the last 2 days is our contractor that we already have working for us over on the South Darlington pump station project where we're rebuilding four pump stations for us, Frank Horn Construction Company. They've come over and given us an emergency, a quote on an emergency repair to that line. That's in this package that I gave you all. And their price is just under $41,000. That's with us supplying the pipe and parts and completing the repaving practically 200 feet of both lanes of West Broad Street. And we're going to have other costs involved. We're still going to continue at just under $100 a day for fuel and pump rental, and our folks going over to refuel the pumps, and we're going to have other costs involved too. There's no doubt about it, because we're doing the general contracting on this, and we're hiring these folks as subs, is what we're doing. Okay? Rather than just going out and telling somebody to fix it and walking off. We're not going to do that. We're going to try to be engaged in the whole thing and save as much money as possible, and we're going to buy our own parts and pieces rather than paying somebody else to go out and get them.
So, okay, I was just looking at.
Right now, the worst case scenario on putting this thing back together and getting it going is just over $55,000, $55,600. I really hope it comes in a lot less expensive with me.
This needs to come out of where?
Well, all that money that I asked you all to move the last council meeting, I haven't spent. I asked you all to move close to $200,000 worth of money into a dozen different line items or so. I haven't spent any of that money. 2 of those were huge purchases. Trucks, vehicles, one about 2 trucks. I haven't bought them yet. So we still have that money.
But the need for those trucks is still there, right?
It's still there, along with the need of all those other items that I had on there.
So what is your suggestion, to take it from those line items?
For right now, this is an emergency we've got to do. We've got a pump around going down the street. We got one street completely closed off, the western end of West Broad Street. We've got one lane closed from Syracuse to West Broad, and one lane closed practically from Milling Street to
Right, but that's,
West Broad.
see, when you keep saying West Broad, now I wanna know, is that, are you gonna have to break up, at Broad and Millen, West Broad and Millen, where I see that pump, where I see you,
That's
just
at
I mean,
Syracuse and Tallulah is where the bump is. Where this is
No,
right
I'm
at
talking
the
about-
intersection of West Broad and Tallulah. There's a cut here. This
Right.
cut in the road right here is
that's why I
from the
was,
folks
Okay.
that operated the water and sewer system prior to my
That's what I'm
arrival.
talking about. That one.
And this area has sunk several inches in the road, and I've got a couple pictures of this if y'all wanna look at it. And I'm real suspect of each end of that. You know, I'm sure that they replaced this with new pipe, so a certain section of that is new. However, where they tied that on to the old sewer pipe at each end, and no one knows, but may have corroded to the point where that's failed. And I don't know how much further along it's failed.
So,
Potential additional cost.
will you have to?
Pardon me?
Potential additional cost.
No, that is the cost of, that's what I'm giving you on.
So
Oh,
we're
okay.
not, so we're not
Just so,
worried about that, okay.
Worst case scenario is $56,000 to tie on to this new line, or this partial new line that the old regime put in, and digging to the next manhole, which is all the way at the top of the hill here at Broad, and Broad continues on over to Little,
right,
you know, that's.
it goes over to
Right.
Jefferson. So
There's a
that's what
manhole right there,
Yeah,
and it's it's off the road, and it's really close to a power pole. And that's one of the reasons why I couldn't get anybody else to bid on it. Everybody came and looked at all this power and looked at our sewer lines and said, we're not digging a hole over here. This guy says, I got a machine that'll hold it in place and do power, let us do it. So, and that's costing us a lot of money. $5,000 for him just to hold the pole in place while they.
I'm asking a question only because all of the residents in there wanna know how long, you know, they're not yeah, knowing the details of what you're doing, except that how, are you gonna be digging to Lula Street and Broad Street, that, all of that?
I don't
And
think
that's
I'm
just,
gonna have to dig to Lula Street.
cause see, that's what you got blocked off. See, that's what you got blocked off now.
Right.
You're traveling on
Right.
this area here, do you say
That's,
that?
that's
So
where,
that's why.
that's where I got,
people
see, that's where the drop manhole is that takes all the sewer. It's coming up to Lula and I'm having to pump around that, so I got that blocked on one
So the
end.
work gonna be on this end where you got this,
We're gonna dig up all
all of this,
of the end of Broad Street.
okay. Come
We're
over
also
here.
gonna dig up some down to Lula, but we're not gonna actually have to dig up the road. We're gonna dig up the side of the road. And Broad Street's right in the middle of the street. On Tallulah, it's off the pavement. But it's this deep, so you don't just dig a straight down hole, it's kind of like this, so that the sides don't cave in on you.
And see, that's what
And
the guy
it's-
was trying to tell
to
me.
be
So
safe.
anyway, yeah, that's good. As long as you get that thing done. Because, you know, it seems like every few months you're down in that
Make a
area,
motion
so
to
this
approve,
is good, I'm
spend
glad.
this money out of his line item.
And, it's good.
Please.
I'll make a motion that we spend it, that you spend the money out of this line item, fix, Tallulah and Broad Street.
I'll say.
Hallelujah.
Mr. Milling, Mr. Nettles, Mrs. Banks, Mrs. Reed, Mr. Seegers, I'm not scared. I would like to clarify one more thing. Your name and Mr. Payne's name were brought up tonight, and I'd like for you to clarify a certain business without calling it a business. How many times did you change a meter because it thought there was a leak there, but you were accused of not fixing anything? When you went way out of the way to make sure that things were taken care of.
We check that meter every day for 3 months, including Saturday and Sundays. And we changed it out twice. And we notified the owner every time, and the owner's plumber every time that we did. We had a third plumber go over that we paid to check. They confirmed that this particular business had a leak. And finally, the owner realizes she's got a leak and she's looking for it. But the real issue here, and if you'll let me for just one moment, I'll be brief, very brief, is the testing of water meters. And if this council decides y'all want me to test water meters, I'll test them. Now, the meters that we've got cost us around $120 to $180. That's what they used to cost. Now it costs $560. If we're gonna test them, I assume, now I'm making a big assumption, we're gonna test them for accuracy. We're not gonna just test them to see if they work when water goes through them, and they don't work when water don't go through them. I assume we're actually gonna test them for accuracy, right? Is that what we're talking about? I'm also making an assumption that we're gonna get them tested for $100 to $250 each. That's what it's gonna cost us. We got 3,500 of them. So it's gonna cost us $350,000 to $880,000 to test them. If y'all can tell me how to fund that, and that's just for somebody testing, that's gonna cost us more than that, because I'm gonna have to put somebody in the office and administrative, because every time those meters are taken out and 10,000 gallons are run through them at 3 different speeds, slow, medium, and high, and they calculate the accuracies at all these different speeds, and then they reinstall that meter, we've got to adjust that water bill for the reading. That the 10,000 or 15,000 gallons that went through it, those people don't pay for it. So I'm just gonna guess this job's gonna cost us $1 million. Wouldn't surprise me. If y'all wanna fund that project, I'll be happy to get into that business. We'll start working on it as soon as you want. But otherwise, I don't know how to do this. I really don't. I've never seen a water meter operate, or any type of meter, without whatever it's measuring going through it. I've never seen one just run on its own. So I don't know if we're just testing them to see if they work when water goes to them, and don't when the water doesn't, or we're actually testing them for accuracy. So that's the first thing we got to decide. Then we're going to have to make the solicitation for bids, find the funding, and get the project started and all that other happy stuff. And I'll be glad to do it. Y'all just tell me when. We'll start.
So since you wanna bring it back up, I'm gonna address it again. The issue is, nobody said check all the meters in Darlington. Who said that? I did not say that. I said, cities that I spoke to said they randomly check their meters. I didn't say they check every meter. I didn't say that. Now, when a citizen get a water bill for $1,400, saying she used 80-something thousand gallons of water, who do that? A laundromat can't use 89,000 gallons of water
Sure they do.
in 1 month. How can, and on top of that, this citizen started turning her toilets off, turning the ice maker off, and turning the water thing coming into the building outside off. And they still telling you, well, your building is leaking water. Leaking where? Everything is turned off. How the water getting in the building? Everything is manually being turned off. $1,400.
Mr. Sugar, how many
So
months?
my point is,
How many months?
I'm not saying check all the meters, I didn't say that. I'm saying the cities that I've talked to around here said they randomly check their meters. That's what I said. I did not say anything about checking all the meters at $1 million.
I just
I
wanted to
didn't say
clarify.
that.
I just wanted to
I didn't say
clarify
that.
that
I didn't say
y'all
that.
make it work.
Okay, Mr. Payne's question, the water bill wasn't, if I'm remembering correctly, the water bill wasn't paid from like August to October, November, so there was several months in there. We downloaded and printed all of that information per hour, how many gallons went through her meter, and up to 200 gallons an hour were going through that meter from 10 o'clock at night to 9 o'clock in the morning. That meant 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 200, 250 gallons of water. Right now, in the past week or two, I haven't looked at it in a week or two since she's realized she's got a leak, there were 10 to 20 gallons a minute going through it round the clock, whether she's there or not. And I had men checking it every day. And I had my ladies downloading the stuff. So all of her data is, I've got huge piles of it. I just happen to have a guy that comes by there on his way to work, so it didn't cost a lot of money. He did it on his own time.
Mr. Gardner?
He came before he clocked in.
Seems to be a little discretion, to say it politely, or alternate opinions between multiple people. Is there a potential way that the city could test this, charge a fee? If it comes that the city is wrong in their readings, then we absorb that fee. If the city's not wrong in their readings, then the citizen whose property that is being requested of is charged that fee.
That's the way it's normally done in a lot of places that I've been.
Is that something the council's comfortable with?
And a lot of cities I've also spoke with, said they randomly check their meters to be sure they were operating properly.
That's fine, but that wasn't.
What
City
cities
randomly.
were those, so I call them and
Like,
get
I
out.
trust you.
You're comfortable
Well,
with that? Are
if
you
you can tell me who
comfortable
they
I
are,
trust you.
they will share their plan with me the same way that I share my plans with them. We're all members of SC Warren.
All right, Mr.
That I
Chairman.
got you all to make a resolution, where you won't tell me what cities do that, so I can talk to them and see how they're doing? And we can tailor a project, or a program around it?
Don't we pay you to do that job? Don't you supposed to know how this works?
That's not.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Don't you supposed to know how this
Thank you,
works?
Mr.
Point of order.
No, I'm not
All right,
gonna
let's-
tell you who I talk to.
let's-
No,
Point
Let's
of
go.
order.
I'm not gonna do
Mr.
that.
Gordon,
I'm not
Mr.
gonna do
Gordon.
that.
I asked
I'm not
a
gonna do that.
specific question. I've gotten, an opinion from, Councilman Seegers and Mayor, Boyd. If the rest of y'all fine with that, if we have a conflict between the city's water department and a resident, then there will be a fee set that we charge the citizen. If the fee is, if the error is on the citizen side, then the citizen would cover that fee. If the error is on the city side, then the city would cover that fee. Is that something y'all are comfortable with?
I don't quite understand. So if they find out that a resident or business has a leak and it's on their side and it's $1,000 water bill, $500 water bill, then
What would happen is they call.
typically have they not in the past, if a resident or customer has a leak, and it's some crazy leak, that you typically adjust the bill for them, don't you not?
If they have a leak, we adjust it by taking the sewer off, because the leak isn't going down the sewer line. Obvious, And then, if they make certain repairs timely, they can submit their bills to Charlotte and those up front, and they make an adjustment on the order. They do it just every time it leaks. I think it's like once per year they do it.
And Charles, have we established that the owner of this person that we're talking about, that they agree that the problem is a leak? Is everybody on the same page?
Yes, he knows.
Okay, the owner and the city is saying that the problem is a leak. So what now? You just haven't been able to identify where this leak is?
That's not our,
It's not the city's
it's not the
responsibility.
city's responsibility. Our responsibility ends
Is to
at
let them know, okay.
Now, we've tried to help.
What I was
We've
trying to
gone in there
clarify,
and our toilets have been running and things, and she's fixed those.
what I was trying to clarify is their integrity of, that they have both gone above and beyond to try to help all the customers. This customer and other customers, to make sure that if there's a problem with the meter, that it's fixed.
Back to my question. If we have a discrepancy between a leak and we're not sure if it's on the city side or the resident side, is the council comfortable with there being a set fee? The set fee will be levied on whoever side the leak is on.
I don't want to do that.
What would you want to do?
I think right now, we generally, if you've got a customer with a problem, if I have a problem, I just call and say, this is a big bill. I don't know whether I got the leak or whether it's not being read, and they check it, and they say, it's either, oops, we didn't read it right, or oops, you got a leak. I fix my leak and I pay my bill, and things go away. I don't want to have to, or nor do I want the citizens to incur a bill every time an incident like that occurs.
Just for clarity, that's not really what this is asking about. What you're referencing is a leak on the property, and what Councilwoman Backus was referencing was whether the meter was accurate or not, and a question of checking the meter to see if it's accurate.
Well, it depends on the,
But for him to be able to check, so you're saying if I question and think my meter's wrong,
She's
and so there's-
alluding to that.